For years, historians and archaeologists have been hoping to find the remains of the first English attempt to settle in America, the Lost Colony. While most have been looking on Roanoke Island, Gordon Watts of East Carolina University has been looking underwater.
If you look at traditional English settlement patterns, for example, they settled at the water's edge. And if that were the case here in 1585, obviously the settlement site today would be underwater. And so that's the reason we're concentrating our search for the settlement site in the present-day Roanoke Sound.
Using an $8,000 grant from North Carolina's 400th Anniversary Committee, Watts and two graduate students have spent the last few months cruising the waters with sonar and other equipment in hopes of finding some evidence to support his theory. On this day, they took their search directly underwater, diving in areas that sonar charts showed had the most promise.
If some of the targets that we've already identified turned out to contain material associated with that 16th century settlement, that would be pretty encouraging.
4 target areas were explored. Watts' crew brought nothing to the surface from the first dive, but hopes were still high.
And probably whatever is down there is pretty well preserved.
A second dive produced a somewhat recent anchor, and the third, the most disappointing of the day, brought remnants of an early 20th century fishing boat.
Well, so much for that.
Watts admits there are many who are skeptical about his theory, and he says things would be easier if the remains of the settlement were found on dry land. Still, he's convinced the answer lies at the bottom of the Sound. He and his crew will spend the winter analyzing sonar charts, and if he can get more grant money, Watts will resume his search for the lost colony next spring. Graham Wilson, WBTV News, Manteo.